All right, guys, today we're talking about gratitude is Motivational Monday. First of all, gratitude is the foundation of shifting your mindset. Gratitude is actually the foundation of shifting your mindset because it's going to rewire your brain to focus on abundance rather than lack. And so I wanted to talk about instead of us fixating our thoughts and our minds on obstacles and limitations, today we're talking about gratitude. It is Motivational Monday. And I love the approach of when we begin to rewire our brain, when we talk about success, when we talk about looking at things from a different perspective, when we talk about rewiring our mindset, the number one thing we have to do, at least from my perspective, is not only begin to be content, but also look at things from a gratuitous perspective or having gratitude. And when you have gratitude, you're going to break away from certain things. And I think it's important that we recognize that gratitude is going to do some things that you may not have thought of. So today we're going to get disruptive in our thinking. We're going to get disruptive in our thinking. And instead of us thinking only about other people, I'm disrupting that thought process so you can think about how gratitude is going to help you personally. And these are things you may not want to hear, but this is Motivational Monday. And since we're being motivated, let's talk about gratitude. So gratitude is going to expose your excuses. I didn't think you don't think about that, right? Gratitude is going to expose your excuses. Why? Because most people use struggle as a crutch to justify why they're not where they want to be. But when you practice gratitude, you can't hide behind the excuses anymore. You cannot hide behind the excuses. You realize that despite the challenges, your abilities, the time, the truth is, if you're being gratuitous, then you're taking responsibility instead of playing victim. You're taking responsibility instead of playing victim. So gratitude actually exposes your excuses. That's number one. Number two, when we talk about gratitude, number two, it makes you realize you may be addicted to the struggle. You may actually be addicted to the struggle. When we talk about rewiring our brain, being content, looking at things from a different perspective, the very first thing we have to do is have a gratuitous attitude. We need to look at things like gratitude. Right? And why is gratitude so important? Because it helps you to appreciate what you already have. It helps you to appreciate, good morning, how are you? Good morning, thank you for joining. Gratitude is going to help you to expose some of the excuses you may have. Gratitude is going to help you to see that you may be the problem. Gratitude is going to help you isolate from certain people. Gratitude, oh yes, very grateful. See that? Gratitude, grateful for the day. When we have a gratuitous attitude, it really exposes things that we may not have been looking at. And so in this session today, this is strictly for you. We're talking about being gratuitous. And the reason we're talking about being gratuitous is because it's going to help us not only with being content, but when we begin to meditate on having gratitude, we begin to see things from a different perspective. And that's one of the very first things that one must do. I love the app, have an app called, oh, I didn't even know there was an app. But listen, if there is an app for gratitude, by all means, find it, use it. One of the things that I appreciate is that in my lives, I talk about specifically about mind shifting to success, hitting goals, and a life transformation. The reason that is so important is because we are in this for the experience and the journey. All of us are looking for ways to transform our life. And in life coaching, I help my clients to appreciate different qualities that they can cultivate that's going to help them. And the number one piece is gratitude. And thank you, Joshua, for that, right? So when we talk about gratitude, there's a few disruptive points that we're going to talk about today. And I think it's imperative that we consider it. And the reason why is because we begin to find out when we have a gratuitous attitude, we actually begin to find out it's not them, it's us, right? Oh, it's me, right? Sometimes we have that, oh, it's me look. Yes, it's us, it's me. So let me give you a few points. I'm going to be on here probably until about 9:10 or so. Let me give you a few points that's going to help you. First and foremost, and thank you so much for the likes, guys. As you see, and this is free information, so why not like the screen? As you tap, you're going to see the button at the top move to the right. That's going to invite other people in. If you think this information is worthy of other people getting in, by all means, please continue to tap. And I so appreciate it, right? So first and foremost, gratitude is going to expose your excuses. Good morning. Good morning, Nessa's Journey. Good morning, my friend. How are you? Thank you for coming in. Thank you for joining, right? So, and thank you for the likes, guys. Thank you for the follow. A few people just followed. Thank you so much. Gratitude exposes your excuses. It exposes your excuses. Guys, I've got my computer up. I've got my notes here. I've got a lot going on. So if you see me look down and up, you'll know I'm looking at my notes. Gratitude is going to expose your excuses. Why do we call them that? Because most people use a struggle. Most people will use a struggle to justify why they aren't where they want to be. And to be clear, just because one is not where they want to be does not mean that they cannot transition into that. Right? And so when we start talking about gratitude, it means I can no longer hide behind the excuse. And I say this all the time, let me accept where I am. There's nothing wrong with where you are, just to be clear. However, we don't have to stay there, right? So when we start talking about gratitude or having a gratuitous thought process, a gratuitous mindset, that means that I am now beginning to appreciate where I am, right? It doesn't mean I have to stay. It just means the challenges that I have, the abilities that I have, the time that I have. Let me not make excuses for them. As I always say, you show me your priorities, I'll show you your time, right? You show me your priorities, I'll show you your time. But the point that I'm making is the truth forces you to take responsibility when you're looking at things from a gratuitous standpoint. And thank you so much for the lives. Please continue to tap your screen, invite others in, because we're talking about gratitude this morning, Motivational Monday, right? So practice gratitude. When you begin to practice it, you cannot hide from excuses. You can't. You start to realize that despite your challenges, there's no reason to hide behind it. The truth is, it's going to force you, because sometimes we don't do this, it's going to force you to take responsibility. So that's number one. That's number one, right? It's going to force you to take responsibility. Number two, it may help you to appreciate that you're addicted to the struggle. I just stepped on a toe. It may help you to appreciate that you might just be addicted to the struggle because it gives you a sense of identity. So with that being said, if you've always struggled, and to be clear, there's different types of struggles. But thank you so much for liking the live. If you've always struggled, if you've always had challenges, remember now the first part was you're going to get rid of the excuses when we talk about gratitude. The second part is keep in mind that's a part of your identity. You've done it for years. You've done that particular piece of your identity for years. It is uncomfortable when you begin to look at gratitude because, and this is why it gets uncomfortable, guys, because you're no longer bonding with that particular piece of your life. Remember now, when we talk about mind shifting to success, when we talk about hitting goals, when we talk about a life transformation, your identity has to completely shift. Your identity has to completely shift. Why? I always say you have to be. If you're be or becoming that, you're going to do, you're going to have. So your identity has to shift from being a victim. Your identity has to shift from being a victim to now being the victor. You have to shift from being a victim to being the victor. You have to, right? So it's going to ensure that this gratuitous attitude that you are, the mind that you're reshaping, the mind that you're having is going to move and adjust you. Practicing gratitude will disrupt that identity. It will disrupt that thought process. It will disrupt how you've been doing things in the past. It's going to disrupt you from being a victim to being a victor. Okay? That's number two. So don't be addicted to the struggle. Stop being attached to that sort of identity. We don't have to be attached to that. Thank you so much for the likes. I appreciate it. I just saw a few follows. Thank you for the follows, right? Please continue to tap your screen. Let others come in. This is important information, and considering it's Motivational Monday, let's get into it, right? So, number one was gratitude exposes your struggle. It exposes, your excuses. Number two is it makes you realize you're addicted to the struggle. It is a part of your identity. When we begin to identity shift, what's happening? Our mindset is shifting. And as our mindset shifts, our actions shift. And as our actions shift, our beliefs, our thought process, our experience, the journey that we're on, right? The transformation that we're looking for, that begins to shift. Guys, if we could see, and I love this, I just talked to a client on Thursday. One of the beautiful things about having gratitude is knowing and understanding where you fall into place at. Knowing and understanding where you fall into place at. Why do I say where you fall into place? Because quite often where we are oblivious to where we are. And until we actually sit with ourselves and know and understand not only who we are, that's the first part, but we become aware of where we are. And then we become aware of the actions and the patterns and the behavior. It forces us to make an adjustment. Now, here's the piece, and I'm going to get really close to the camera, guys. I don't have my makeup, sorry. But here's the piece. This is the piece that we don't get. Once we become painfully and unabashedly aware of who and what and how we got there, it is up to us to make the adjustment. And part of the adjustment is meditating on gratitude. Why is that so important? Because when we begin to meditate on that, it will move us. It will behoove us to adjust, to recognize the patterns, recognize that we've been very critical of ourselves and other people, recognize some of the challenges that we've gone through, right? It will ensure that we move away from the excuses. It will ensure that we're not addicted to the struggle. It is okay to let the struggle go, right? So with that being said, gratitude is going to, and we have to do this next piece, adjust our environment. What is your environment? I'm going to break this down because most people don't believe me when I say this. And please continue to tap the screen. As you tap, this will get the information to others. They will come in if you feel the information is worthy. Let me see. Okay, Nessa, I'm going to answer that. Gratitude looks like being able to recognize and acknowledge where you are and that you have enough to move to the next place in your life. So let me give you an example. I'm just going to give you this example. Some time ago, I thought, and this was years ago, but I'm going to give you an example. Some time ago, I thought that in order to have an ebb, what some may call a flow in life, a ebb and flow to get here, to get there, I thought that I needed to be something or someone else to get there. Let me give you an example. I've worked in corporate America for over 25 years. In working in corporate America, depending on what your job is, they will have you to believe that you are not enough and that you need to adjust to this type of person in order to get to this particular place. I personally feel, after 20, almost 30 years, that is completely untrue. Now, I'm talking about corporate America. Why is that so important? Because of the demographic, quite often, of corporate America. Not necessarily now, but years ago. And depending on where you are in your executive level in corporate America, right, you may have to adjust to certain things. What do I mean by that? If you're in the good old boys club, you may have to adjust. If you are at a C level, B level in corporate America, there's no doubt in my mind that as you move up the ladder, you're expected to have a particular type of standard or look, right? And that is completely up to you. However, what I've done and have continued to do is continue the same way. However, I understand what that looks like in terms of, I hate to say it, but the game you have to play in order to remain in corporate America. Now, that's one aspect of it, right? Let's look at it from a different perspective. What about your home? What about your family? What about your surroundings and your environment, right? So if I'm being truly honest and authentic and having a gratuitous attitude, that means that I would be content with what I have going on and then adjust as necessary in order to remain within that family dynamic. So I'm happy with my husband. What does that look like? I'm happy with my husband. I'm happy. And if you're not happy, that means you need to adjust to make things right, right? I'm happy with my family. Family's doing great. With my job, I may not like every aspect of it, right? And this is for those that are working or thinking about a side hustle. I may not be happy with every single aspect of it. However, am I being authentic and knowing and understanding that this is what it is, but I have the ability to adjust it. And as I adjust, I am okay with each step. Keep in mind, each step is a stepping stone to the next level. Keep in mind, each piece is a stepping stone to the next level. So when we talk about being gratuitous, that simply means I'm grateful for where I'm at. It doesn't mean I have to remain here, but as I go, let me be authentic with myself. Let me be honest with myself. Let me be true to myself. Does that make sense, Nessa? Since you're on a journey, Nessa, does that make sense? If you're still here, right? So with that being said, Nessa, put a 1 in the comments if that makes sense, right? So with that being said, it's nothing wrong with the journey. And to be clear, it's something wrong when you deem that it's something wrong. It's something wrong when you deem that it's something wrong, right? So being thankful or having gratitude for where you are is going to help you get to the next level. And quite often people don't realize that. Your environment has to change as you're having that attitude. Why? Because you cannot hang around. If you're looking to adjust, the same people, the same thoughts, the same beliefs, the same environment has to adjust as well. Did we get that? If you're looking to adjust, that adjusting is going to isolate you from other people, things, places, ideas, and thoughts. It's going to remove you from that. And as it removes you from that, that means that you're ready to go to the next level. Whatever your next level is. Keep in mind, this is not a sprint. This is a marathon. Why do I say that? Because every time we make an adjustment, that means that we are getting used to that particular adjustment to move to the next piece. Right? We're always starting at base. As we start at, as we start at base, we then begin to elevate. As we begin to elevate, that means that there's a lot of work that's being done between base and elevation. As that work is being done, and to be clear, every time you hit a goal, you have to adjust. You have to adjust to hit the next goal. What do I mean by adjusting? You are literally shifting your identity and your mindset every single day to get to the next level, whatever your next level is. And that's why I don't celebrate mediocrity. That's why I don't celebrate mediocrity. My mediocrity and your mediocrity may be two different things. However, when we really think about it, are we living the best experience that we could? Are we actually living the best experience that we can? And if you feel that you're living your best experience, nothing wrong with that. You remain at that level. If you feel that you're not experiencing the best in this experience that we call life, if you feel that you're not experiencing that, then that's where the gratitude comes in. Meditating on that, cultivating different qualities, cultivating different values, cultivating those things, right? That simply means that as you cultivate it, you're refining what you have. So if I'm a person that's working on patience and I'm refining that, all that means is that I'm continuing to work. I'm continuing to work on that. And so different experiences, different things may happen that will allow me to show that I'm cultivating that particular quality. So when we talk about gratitude, gratitude is going to allow you, as you cultivate that quality, you begin to see things differently. As you see it differently, you will begin to have an ebb and flow throughout your life that will allow you to not only cultivate it, but you'll begin to hit goals and maintain them. And it doesn't require you, excuse me, it doesn't mean that you're only working at one quality at a time. That's not necessarily the case. However, you can by all means, you can, as you change your environment, you could be working on a few different things, right? So just to be clear, when we talk about gratitude, number one was it's going to expose the excuses. Number two, it's going to make you realize that you may be addicted to a struggle, whatever that struggle is. Number three, your environment. I always talk about the environment because it's not, people just think the environment only consists of your peers. That is not the case. Your environment is also where you live, how you're living, your peers, books, music, all of those things will impact you. And so as they impact you, it will help you to appreciate either you're going to adjust or you'll remain at the same level, right? So we have to make adjustment. This is the last point, and I love this point, and then I'm going to drop. Before I give the last point, please continue to tap your screen. It'll move from left to right if you deem this information worthy of others coming in. As number one. And then number two, please feel free to go to DanisSheldon.net. There's free online newsletters there, but also you can DM me personally. I will sign you up for the list. This is the last one. It may force you to see that you may be the issue. Or I may be the issue, right? Gratitude is going to remove the illusion that you're not the challenge. And when I say you, I'm talking about me as well. Maybe I'm the issue, right? It's going to force you to do that. It's going to force you to do that because it means that you are going to stop the excuses, which was the first one, and it's going to let you know that external circumstances are not holding you back. You are holding you back. Oh, thank you, Nessa. I'm glad you like that, right? Right? It's an illusion when we think that everybody else is the issue, when we complain that everyone else is the issue. And the illusions can be very deceptive. Illusions are very deceptive, right? You start seeing how your mindset, your habit, your thought process, your beliefs, all of those things impact you having a gratuitous attitude. And since they impact them, right? Since they're impacted, that means that I need to be honest and understand, oh, it's me. I'm the issue. It's me, right? So the external validation that you may be looking for, the external circumstances, the behavior, the habits, all of those things, if you really get honest with yourself, when we look at having a gratuitous attitude, it will reveal that. And once it reveals it, it is incumbent upon us to make the adjustment. It is incumbent upon me to make the adjustment. I think we've all heard the term, nobody's coming to save us, right? I've heard that 18 million times. But no one necessarily says how we can move from one place to the next. And so that's what these tips are for, right? So it forces us to see that we are the problem. And it removes the veil or the illusion that it is everyone else, but more so it is us. Okay, so with that being said, it is Motivational Monday. I'm going to put a few more posts out. I've got quite a few other things coming down pike I'm really excited about. Please go to DanisSheldon.net, sign up, get your free newsletter. I've already dropped February. March will be coming out soon. On Friday, I sent out all of the notes from the live. I actually personally sent it out in email to everyone. So if you didn't receive your email, that simply means you didn't sign up for DanisSheldon.net, right? So I will send these points out or I'll upload them to the website. But please sign up. All you have to do is create an account. It's free. And then you'll have access to all the free information and resources there. Okay? So with that being said, I hope you have a wonderful Motivational Monday. I hope you have a wonderful Motivational Monday. And by the way, did y'all catch that game? I just want to throw that out there. Did y'all catch the game? Oh, I'm glad you enjoyed this session. Nessa, come back. I'll be back tomorrow. I'll be back tomorrow because I'm going to give the last 3 tips. The last 3 tips. The last 3 tips on gratitude. So I'll be back tomorrow. Okay. If you saw the game, did y'all see that game? I had to mention that game. I'm from Baltimore, Philly, right up the street. Yo, that game was fantastic. And I don't even watch football like that. All right, that's enough. That's enough. Have an excellent Motivational Monday. Nessa, I'll be back tomorrow, 8:30 sharp. Please sign up for DanieSheldon.net. Yes, I'm glad you saw the game. Please sign up for DanieSheldon.net. Go up top, hit get my newsletter or free newsletter. When you click it, it's going to ask you to create an account. It is free. There's some free tips and tricks there. Enjoy them. All right, guys. Have a good one. Bye-bye.